Hi, my name is Erin, and I am a librarian with the Hillsborough Public Library System. And today we are starting a new series called Young Adult Book Snacks. In this series, I'm going to be coming to you once a month with three YA book recommendations, and then I'll read an excerpt from one of them to get you excited about it. Now, today, the books that we're going to be talking about are Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas, Dread Nation by Justina Ireland, and The House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin Craig. Now, I'm going to start first with Cemetery Boys. This is a great one to get you excited for Dia de los Muertos, which is coming right up around the corner. Our main character is Yadriel, a young trans teen living with a Latinx community where many of the men are brujos with the power to help spirits of the dead, and many of the women are brujas who can help the living and have powers around healing. In an effort to prove his identity to his family and prove that he's capable of being a brujo, Yadriel tries to summon the spirit of his cousin Miguel. But he accidentally summons the wrong ghost. Instead, he gets Julian, a different boy entirely, and he ends up getting stuck with trying to help Julian figure out the circumstances around his death. But the more he continues along with helping Julian, the more fond of Julian he gets and the more he doesn't want Julian to leave. If you like ghost stories, if you like supernatural romances, if you like LGBT romances, this is going to be a great one for you, especially with Dia de los Muertos right around the corner. Our next two books, both would be great ones for Halloween to kind of get you in that spooky mood. The first one I'm going to talk about is Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. And this one is an alternative historical fiction. In this version of history, the Civil War didn't end the way we know it ended. It ended because at Gettysburg, the dead started coming back to life and attacking the living. It ended because of zombies. And after this, it became a popular custom to take young Black girls away from their families and train them to be attendants, which are kind of like part ladies' maid and part bodyguard zombie fighter to help protect middle-class white women. Our main character is Jane, who is an attendant in training, and she is great at killing zombies. She's also a lot smarter than anybody gives her credit for, and she starts investigating some missing families around Baltimore and ends up getting caught up in a strange conspiracy. And she will need all of her wits and strength and zombie fighting prowess to get her and her friends through it. If you like things like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, this would be a great one for you. It's really witty and action-packed. Definitely recommend it. It's also the start of a series. Our third book today is going to be The House of Salt and Sorrows. It's a little bit different. This one's by Erin Craig. In this gothic ghost story, our main character is named Anna Lee, and she is living with she's the daughter of a wealthy family, a nobleman's daughter. And everything in her life would be going pretty well, except for that members of her family keep dying in unusual circumstances. By the time the fourth time this has happened, most of the town thinks her family is cursed. While she's trying to figure that out, she starts having visions of her dead sisters, and she becomes very convinced that their deaths were not actually accidents. Meanwhile, her living sisters are being lured off through this strange portal every night to dance all night in strange balls and parties. And she's not sure whether this is a good thing or whether she should try to stop them. She'll be trying to figure out what's happening to her family. Is her family really cursed? What's going on with her sisters? And can she stop it all to save the rest of them before anything else goes wrong? If you like gothic horror stories, ghost stories, or like things with a nautical theme, because this one is set on a tiny little island out in the ocean where everything's craggy and misty, this would be a great one for you. With no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start with my excerpt of Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. This excerpt comes from chapter 3, when Yadriel tries to summon a spirit for the first time. Yadriel had seen his father summon a spirit. He knew what to do and how to do it. He just needed to say the words. The flame inched towards Yadriel's fingers. There was no time left to second guess. He held out his arm, the metal hanging from the chain looped around his hand. It glinted in the dim light. Te... Yadriel cleared his throat, trying to breathe around the lump that had formed. Te invoco espiritu. He dropped the match into the bowl. For a second, it sizzled in the blood and alcohol before there was an explosion of heat and golden light. Yadriel sprang back, choking on the smoke. The fire in the bowl burned calmly, casting orange light over a boy. He was doubled over on his hands and knees before the statue of Lady Death, clutching his chest. Yadriel could hardly believe his eyes. It worked! The spirit's face was screwed up in a tight grimace. His fingers knotted into the material of his shirt. He wore a hooded black leather jacket over a white tee, faded jeans, and a pair of Converse. "That's not Miguel," Maritza tried to whisper, but she'd never had a very good inside voice. Yadriel groaned and dragged a hand over his face. On the bright side, he had actually summoned a real-life spirit. On the not-so-bright side, he had summoned the wrong one. "Obviously," Yadriel hissed back, unable to look away from the boy as he gasped for breath, the muscles in his neck straining. He had that translucent quality around the edges, like all spirits. The boy's eyes swung to them. He had a handsome but very angry face, his grimace now more of a sneer. "Well, at least it's not a maligno spirit," Maritza offered. The boy staggered to his feet, upright but unsteady. "Who the hell are you?" he snarled, dark eyes blazing, sharp as obsidian. Was Yadriel's unhelpful reply, suddenly unable to form a coherent sentence. "Where am I?" the boy barked, his head tilting back as he took in their surroundings. "Am I in a church?" His attention swung back to Yadriel and Maritza with an accusing glare. "Who let me in a church?" Familiarity prickled at the back of Yadriel's mind, racing to place his strong features and booming voice. Well, you see," Yadriel stammered, not really sure how to explain their situation, but he wasn't given the chance to finish. The boy's eyes snagged on the necklace still dangling from Yadriel's hand. "Hey!" Yadriel saw the anger swell, hunching his shoulders and propelling him forward. The boy stomped up to him. "That's mine!" He reached out to snatch the necklace, but his hand went right through it. He tried again, and when his hand slid through it a second time, he froze, blinked, and waved it back and forth. The boy's eyes went wide, and he let out a strangled shout, stumbling back. "What?" he stammered, looking between his hand and Yadriel and Maritza. "The hell is this?" "Wow, this is really awkward," Yadriel said, scratching the back of his neck. Maritza seemed less worried. "Well, there's no denying you're a brujo now," she said, circling the boy with keen interest. He scowled at her. "Who are you, and what are you doing with my necklace?" he demanded, looking to Yadriel for answers. "Well, I used it to summon you," Yadriel tried. The boy arched a thick eyebrow. "Summon me?" "Yeah, we thought it belonged to Miguel." What was the gentlest way to tell someone they were dead? "Our cousin," Maritza specified. The boy didn't seem at all interested in who Miguel was. "It's mine," he insisted with a growl. "It's got my name on it, see?" he said, fingers curling in demand. Yadriel turned the medal over to find that a name had indeed been engraved on the back. He blinked. Oh. The delicate cursive letters read Julian Diaz. Yadriel's eyes went wide, snapping back to the boy's face. Oh. Julian Diaz. He knew Julian Diaz, or rather knew of him. They went to high school together. It was a large school with more than 2,500 students, but Julian had a bit of a reputation. He ditched a lot, but when he was roaming the halls, it was hard not to notice him. He had the sort of presence that demanded everyone's attention without needing to ask. Julian was loud, rarely took things seriously, and was known for getting into trouble. He was hard to miss, attractive in a severe sort of way, with a diamond-shaped face. He had a narrow, stubborn chin and a sharp voice that always seemed to cut through every other one in the quad. "What do you mean by summon?" Julian asked again. He was staring at his transparent palms, turning them over as if trying to solve a puzzle. "Do you happen to know how you got here?" Yadriel tried in an attempt at being tactful. Julian glared. "No," he snapped. "All I remember was walking down the street with my friends." He looked around as if trying to find them in the cold church. "Then someone, he frowned. Happened? I don't know. I just remember getting knocked over. Maybe I got jumped or something." Julian rubbed absently at the same point on his chest. "The next thing I knew, I was in this church with you two." 3 beats passed before Julian's eyes suddenly went wide. "I died, didn't I?" The fierceness was gone, leaving his voice small and weak. "Am I dead?" Yadriel winced and gave a small nod. "Yeah." Julian stumbled back a step, his body wavering in and out of existence for a moment, like a camera trying to focus. "Oh, Jesus." He pressed both hands against his face. "My brother is gonna kill me," he groaned against his palms. Looks like someone already beat him to it, Maritza said, reaching out to poke her finger right through Julian's elbow. And that is where we will stop that one for now. If you would like to read more of this book or any of the other ones I mentioned, they are all available for checkout or for holds requests through the library website at wccls.org. Also, I do want to let you all know that I will be hosting Aiden Thomas for an author Q&A about this book on November 10th from 6 to 7. If you'd like to hear more about his writing process or have questions about writing and publishing or questions about this book, please join us then on Zoom. We look forward to seeing you there. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you next month with more recommendations. Bye.